Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy, the dope ass dude, and I am so excited to be back. It seems like it has been forever since I have been with you guys, and I am like really excited to be back on tonight. And I am excited about our guest. I'm also excited because we have an amazing amount, caliber of people that's lined up to be on the podcast this season. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited about like growing with you this season because I definitely learned a whole lot from our guests last season and the previous season before then. So I'm really excited about, growing with you this season and, just having an amazing time. So just a couple of preliminary things before we bring Curtis out. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you go out, subscribe to the channel now, subscribe to it. And then while you're out there subscribing, please click on that notification button so that you can be notified every time we go live or a video is uploaded to the channel. So make sure you upload. And then also, if you're not following the podcast on TikTok and Instagram, follow us on both, the Dope As Dude podcast. And yeah, looking forward to having you there. And then lastly, we are on the go. So if you aren't able to catch us on Mondays, you can always check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. So, yep, make sure you go out and look for us there. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Again, I am so excited about having this guy on the podcast, and I connected with him on Instagram. And how I connected with him on Instagram is I was just out there scrolling and I came across his content. And, when I came across his content, I watched one video and one video led to 5 videos and 5 led to 10 and 10 led to 15 and on and on and on because this guy is phenomenal. He has a lot of knowledge. And then not only does he have a lot of knowledge, you can feel his passion for what he does through his posting and everything. So I am extremely excited to introduce him to you guys, and we're going to go ahead and bring him on out. Curtis, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up? What's up, man?
How you doing?
Man, I'm feeling amazing, bro.
I love it. I
Better than
love it.
ever.
Yes, sir. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. This is like an honor to have you on here.
For sure, man. I want to, just give it back to you, man, just for reaching out. I take it very humbly. You know what I'm saying? So, man, any way I can serve, bro, I'm here.
Yes, sir. And I love that. I love that. So you are from Louisville, Kentucky. I know you probably hear Louisville sometimes, but you're from Louisville, Kentucky, and you're a native of Louisville, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So man, yeah, born and raised here in Louisville, Kentucky. Married to my beautiful wife. We've high school sweetheart, so we've been together for over 12 years, married. Going on 5 years now. Father of our 2-year-old son. We do got another one on the way as well, another son on the way, which is going to be here in about 2 months. So, household is, all over the place. And just kind of a little bit about my background. I got into entrepreneurship back in 2014. So it's been about 9 years now. Got started in the network marketing space. So for everybody that knows, that's familiar with that industry, that's where I got my start. Just really, that's where I learned sales, building organizations, leadership, all those different things. And most importantly, that's where I had my biggest roadblock and really learned that in order for you to win in business, you have to master getting attention. So I spent 5 years struggling, not making any money, not seeing any success, second guessing myself. And then really, coming to this point, really cracking the code and figuring things out, and now being able to now learn and how to get attention, how to grow a following, how to, package a digital brand around your message, your products and your services so that people will actually listen to it. which then turns into income. So fast forward to this day, been able to, create a lot of success from it. And, just now passionately able to teach that to other entrepreneurs. And really overall, man, just helping people get their message heard. And that's really what it's all about.
Wow. So you said something that was really interesting. And when you first kicked it off, you said that, there was a time that you were second guessing yourself, and there are a lot of people that do that, So how did you overcome that? How did you push through that and just have the faith and the trust in yourself to know, hey, this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. So the biggest thing is number one, just getting clear on your assignment. I believe that God's put an assignment and put an objective in each and every one of us, and put gifts and talents there. And so when you get clear on what your assignment is, you just got to go for it. And so understanding that as you go through the process, there's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be times where the enemy, tries to slip in and discourage you, right? Get you off course. And so that's where that faith has to kick in, So and those times of discouragement, really came from not knowing what to do next, not knowing how to figure things out. And so, the biggest thing that I leaned on, man, is depending on your faith. Like when you're in doubt and not knowing what to do next, and the enemy's attacking your mind, you just got to take the next step of obedience, and you just got to trust and believe that God's going to continue to carry you through the way. So just realizing that every time I got doubtful, because myself, I never was a big name. I was always the quiet dude in high school. I mean, I played sports. That was it. So I didn't have any success. I didn't have any influence. Any of those things. So all those things played a role in creating success. So just understanding that whenever those doubts creep in, those limitations, it's not real. It's the enemy trying to discourage you, trying to distract you, and you just got to continue to move forward. So just understanding your purpose and your assignment, and understanding that, like, whatever God put on your heart to do, that's it. And as long as you believe and have faith in it, it's going to be delivered to you. You just got to continue to take the next step forward.
Yeah, yeah. And it's amazing. Like now, I think, back in the day when I was growing up, we just said, hold on, keep the faith and everything. Now it's called, pretty much when you hear it, people saying, trust the process, trust the process. And that is a difficult place to be sometimes because, like you said, you do become doubtful, and it is hard to trust when you don't see that light at the end of the tunnel. It's kind of hard to just stay there. But you said some good stuff there, man.
Oh yeah. And just kind of piggybacking off that, man, like that's what it's really all about. I come to realize that, man, is if you have such a focus on the destination, you're gonna totally miss the process. Like, there's a starting point of from where you are right now, and then there's the ending point of where you want to go. What you get is not the biggest thing. It's what you become in the process. So in the process, that's where the refinement happens. That's where the cultivating happens. That's where God has to remove things out of your life and build things in your life so that you can actually sustain the success that you're praying for. Because God will never give you anything that you don't have the wisdom to maintain. He'll never give you anything that you don't have the power to sustain. And so what I realized is that through the process of figuring things out, there were some things that I had to grow. There were some areas that I had to develop. And so everybody, watching this podcast, just understand that as you're on your process, that's where you have to put the focus at. What do you need to grow in? What skills do you need to learn, right? Because all the process is nothing but the training camp, so that when you do arrive, and God's gonna deliver to you. So when He does give it to you, the question is, will you be able to sustain it? And so the process, man, is just all about developing wisdom. It's all about developing the character, the posture, so that when you get it, it's not a curse, because the right thing at the wrong time is a curse, right?
Yeah.
And so it could be a lot of money, but if you're a bad person, you're just going to have more money to be a bad person with. If you're a bad, if you don't know how to take care of responsibilities or know how to treat other people, it's just gonna be a curse at the end of the day. So, man, I've learned that today. I don't rush anything. I'm not looking, trying to speed my way to the finish line. Um, and man, as long as you move at the pace of grace, everything just happens.
Nice.
When it happens correctly.
Yeah.
I tell people I don't want to move fast. I want to move correct. And
Yeah.
so if I'm moving outside of if I'm moving out of alignment and I'm moving way too fast, you drive anything too fast, it eventually comes to a crash landing. So fall in love with the process, take it day by day, learn what you need to learn, and you're going to arrive, right? Because at the end of the day, God promises that. So as long as you focus on that, man, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. And there's one, and I know we're going to move on after we go here because it was something else that you said that I think is so key when you're trusting the process. And then also when you're being elevated in what life God has for you, when you're being elevated, you said God has to move so he can rebuild. And a lot of times we think we're losing something because he's moving something, but he's moving it for the gain. It's really not a loss. It's a
Yeah.
game, but you got to let this go because everybody, I think this is something that we all make a mistake when, especially entrepreneurs, when we're trying to step out on faith or just in life. A lot of times we think everybody is going to go along with us or everything is going to go along with us. And sometimes people and things have to be weeded out of your life for you to get on the path you're supposed to be on. And when you're in it in real time, you can't see it, but once you come out of it and there's no emotions involved, you can see clear as day God's hands on it, what he was doing, why he was moving, and like you said, and now he's rebuilding. So yeah, you got to trust that process.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. So, Curtis, let me ask you this here. What are some of the common branding mistakes people make?
Um, I would say the very first thing, man, is like following everybody else. So one thing I tell people is you just got to be authentic. Um, Main thing people do is they're so quick and in a rush to grow a following, get followers and attention in the aspect or getting followers, getting attention, while at the same time risking their authenticity. So you can be yourself. You don't have to follow the trends. You don't got to follow what's working for everybody else. Because at the end of the day, if when your audience sees you, right, people see you on social media, they can tell if it's authentic or not. So for instance, you won't see me dancing on TikTok, right? That's not me, right? That's not authentic. So just really being authentic, man, to who you are, and you can build a movement out of that. You can get your message heard from that place. So I say that's one thing. Another mistake that people make, I would say, is wanting to grow to the extent where they fake it till they make it. So that looks like buying fake followers, buying fake engagement, all those different things. I've seen that a lot as well. So, and then at the end of the day, again, we're on a platform today where people are heavy on being authentic. People are heavy on being real. So when people see that something is counterfeit, it's just gonna ruin your credibility. So I would say those two things. Um, yeah. I mean, and then not being clear. So having too much noise on what it is that they do and who it is that they serve. So really being locked in on what your lane is. So I see people doing, they're experts in 5 different things. One day they're doing real estate, next day they're doing Airbnb, next day after that they're building a t-shirt brand. Like, what is your expertise? So people follow people that holds a certain position in their life. So you have to figure out what position do you want to hold in people's lives. What niche is that in, so really getting clear and locked in on what that is, so that when people do come onto your page, they have no confusion. So if you confuse them, you lose them. So if you're marketing 5, 6 different things, then you're trying to be the jack of all trades and the master of none of them. So master a skill, get locked in on that skill, and plant your flag as the person that's the go-to person in that space. Build your authority, build your expertise in that area, so that you can be the go-to guy or go-to woman. When it comes to that area. So those are the top mistakes that I see people make.
So let me ask you this here. How do you stay authentic in a filtered field world? And what I mean by filtered field world is that, a picture, we post pictures, we post reels, and we give people what we think they want. We make it look pretty. And that's what filters pretty much do. Whether it's a facial filter or anything, it makes things look better. And so, how do you stay? I know you said just stay true to who you are, but how do you not allow the likes to influence you? Because that's pretty much what influences people to start coming out of their natural self, because we want more likes, we want more attention, we want people to start sharing. So, how do you stay authentic to you when you only getting one like and no shares?
So what I would say is figuring out how to turn what's unique about you in a way that is attractive. So and there's multiple different ways to do it, and that's exactly what we show people how to do. But yeah, I mean, let's just say you try something else out that's not really you, but you're getting a lot of likes from it, engagement. But here's the problem: when people meet you in person, or when they buy a product from you, or whatever the case is, and they see the real you, they're going to see the real you, right? And so it's only going to be, again, it's going to crash your credibility. So I would say the way to do that is to figure out a content style that is authentic to you, but is still in a way that is packaged up and wrapped in a way that people are already engaging with. So and a great way to start is, finding someone, another influencer or another content creator that's highly successful that matches the same personality as you, and just starting to take notes, figuring out what's working for them, and take those elements, and now you can start to play around to see if those things work for you. So I would say definitely say, don't, continue down that path of what's working, but that's not authentic. And start to figure out, okay, if I dance, right, dancing is a natural part of me. How can I create content that's going to educate people, inspire people, or entertain people, with my authentic factors? If I'm, chill and laid back, right, just, I'm a chill, laid back guy. How can I take those elements of myself and still create content in a way that's going to educate people, inspire people, and entertain people? And so, again, there's multiple different ways to do it. However, it does require taking out the time, taking out the research to figure it out, and taking a lot of testing as well. So another big thing is that people, and it kind of goes back to the process, right? People are just in today's world. We live in a popcorn society. It's my money, I need it now type thing. But you just got to kind of slow things down, take it back a second, and do the the testing necessary to find out what that is. So you may not get 100 likes right now. They may not be commenting right now, right? But 30 days from now, 60 days from now, if you follow in the process, you're literally just one away from everything blowing up for you. And I tell people that all the time. You're literally one post away from finding out what works. You're one post away from, leads filling up in your inbox, new clients, new customers, new brand endorsements, whatever your goal is. But you just have to fall in love with the process long enough and not surrender your authenticity to what you think works, or what everybody else is doing, although it's not in alignment with who you really are.
Yeah, and this is something that you offer. These are like some of the services that you offer, right? Like if someone wants to reach out to you, you could help them with that, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yep. Yep. So we have an entire coaching program where we literally take entrepreneurs, anyone building a brand from basics all the way up to monetization, the monetization aspect. So we cover all of these things and actually walk you through the steps of actually implementing it, applying it so that you can, build a successful brand.
Okay, because that it's interesting that you said that because we want to talk about that because well, it's three things that I know that you emphasize on your page, and that is exposure, cultivate and nurture, and then also monetizing. So talk to us a little bit about that because I know you just mentioned that's one of your services that you do. So talk to like what does that entail?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what I tell people is that so when we kind of look at the broad scope, there's over 7 billion people in the world. 4.8 billion something people like that is actually on social media. So like we live in a crowded world that's fighting for attention. So this isn't the same social media platforms as it was back in 2010, 2013, or anything like that. We live in a world today where everybody's starting businesses. Everybody wants to become the next influencer, right? Everybody wants to become the next household name. So, whenever you post on social media, you're in competition with Nike. You're in competition with Adidas. You're in competition with Kim Kardashian, right? Because we're all posting on the same news feed. So the main goal, very first step, is you want to master the art of getting attention, and this is the very first step in the 3-step process to actually, building a brand that's successful, that's actually creating income. So basically, what that looks like is just collecting as much digital real estate as you possibly can, right? Which is attention. So you can actually be top of mind of people. So once you do that, and there's multiple different ways that you can do it. Also, we live in a world where you don't have to necessarily pay for all this attention. First way you can do it is obviously pay for it, right? So that looks like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, influencer marketing. Maybe you pay somebody to do a shout out post that has an audience that you want. So that's one way, right? And then the second way is to just create great content that goes viral, right? They get shared by people all across the world, and so that's another way to put yourself in front of hundreds and thousands of millions of people. So the best way to do it, whether again, if you want to do paid, those are a couple of different ways to do it. Now, if you want to do it the free way, the organic way, the type of content that's going to push you out in front of the most amount of people, ours is going to be reels and TikToks and things like that, because it's centered around getting more exposure. So that's going to be the first step, is just getting new eyeballs, getting seen.
So let me ask you this here real quick. So how important is hashtagging and topics? Because I know now they encourage you to add topics to your reels. That's something new that they've recently, I guess, started doing, like on Instagram. How important is that? Like when you're getting that exposure?
Not as important, but it's relevant. So, um, basically, I would say the purpose of hashtags is just to categorize your content. So basically, the algorithm wants to know, hey, what type of content do you put out? All right. So if let's just say I'm doing motivational content, people follow hashtags. So if I'm putting success, motivation, inspiration, those sort of hashtags, then the algorithm is going to get trained to know who to put my content in front of. So another thing is that each and everybody's accounts, there's certain tags that each account puts, or there's certain tags that social media algorithms put on these accounts based on what type of content you consume. So now, whenever you use hashtags, it's going to now put that content in front of those people, because that's the type of content that they like. So however, hashtags isn't really a thing that's relevant as far as getting more exposure or even getting growth, because the algorithms don't rely on hashtags in order to do that, or in order to gauge what type of content is good content. So now typically when you have good content, that's when you start to get your content pushed out in front of more people by the algorithms. But if you have bad content and you're using hashtags, and it still doesn't make a difference. So I would just say hashtags, topics. It's really just designed to categorize your content so that it knows who to show this information to.
Okay, nice. Okay, so we can, I guess we moving on to cultivate.
Yeah. So now the second step is the cultivation aspect. So um let's just take Drake for example, right? Or your favorite artist. Typically your very first time hearing them was maybe a friend told you about them. You're like, hey, yo, listen to this song. This song goes hard. You're like, yo, I like that song, right? So now you've been exposed. So now let's just say I heard a Drake song, and maybe I heard it at a store, or seen it on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. So now the second step is the cultivation phase. So this is the phase where you now start to build a relationship with your audience, right? So now I'm listening to Drake's free content on YouTube, right? Now I'm checking out his Instagram page. I'm checking out his posts. So this is now the phase where it's as if I'm building a relationship with this artist. So this is the same exact thing for your brand. This is where you now want to start to give them a reason to follow you, and give them content that's going to solve, right, their pain problem or whatever the case is. Really demonstrate your expertise. So the very first step is, in the exposure phase, nobody knows who you are. Now they become aware, and now in the culture, the cultivate nurture phase, this is where you want to prove to them how you can actually help them. So this is where you're going to now put out content that's going to educate them, that's going to inspire them, that's going to entertain them. Give them a reason to hit the follow button. So this may look like, carousel posts where you're, breaking down a specific subject, really, really exercising your expertise. This might look like, getting them to a podcast like this one, right? This may look like getting them to your YouTube, or whatever the case is. Building a relationship in your Instagram stories, letting them get a behind the scenes of your life. So getting them to a space where they like, know, and trust you, and see you as a person that can actually help them get to the goal, right? Help them get to the destination that they're looking for. So multiple different ways that you can do that, right? Multiple different types of content. But again, the goal in this phase is to build that like, know, and trust factor. And so now the third phase, this is the monetization phase. So this is where we now start to move your followers from followers to now new clients and customers. So, it's cool to have a lot of followers, right? It's cool to have a big audience, but at the end of the day, followers don't pay bills, right? And here's another thing. We don't own social media networks, right? We don't own Facebook. We don't own Instagram or any of that. They can close down tomorrow. So if these platforms were to close down, you lose your audience. You don't have any way to contact these people. So now in the third phase, this is where you now want to transition these people and get them to something called owned media, right? So a habitat, a community, an environment that you own, so that you can continue to now build a relationship with these people and actually start to move them into the process of becoming a new client or a customer. So this may look like something as simple as getting them to your website, right? You might have a website you send people to. This might look like getting them to fill out an application, getting them on a call, or getting them in the DM so that you can continue the conversation and figure out what the next best step is for that person. So that's what the process looks like. So again, step number one, this is where nobody knows who you are. So you just want to get known. Like you want to overcome obscurity. Grant Cardone says it all the time. Like you have to get attention. And he says whether it's bad attention, at least it's attention, right? So then the second phase, you're building a relationship with these people. So typically free content. The best way to prove to somebody that you can help them is by actually helping them first. And so now they see you as the trusted authority, the expert, and see you as a person that can actually get them to the payoff. And now as you're putting out great content, you continue to stay at the top of mind of these people. So now when they're ready to make a decision, you're the first person that they're going to. And so now third step, the monetization phase. So now let's just say I see an ad, Drake's coming to Louisville. Now I'm ready to buy a ticket, because I've been consumed with so much free content that I enjoy. I feel like I know him. I love all his music. You can literally recite every verse in your head. You wake up in the morning singing the songs, and you're like, I'm so in tune with this brand that they can put out anything for me to purchase, and I'm gonna buy it. So yeah, that's kind of what the process looks like. And that's kind of where how that's the process we take people through, so that we master each step.
Yeah. So trust is like super important. They have to trust you, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, because we live in a carbon copy world. Like, everybody wants to be a carbon copy of a perfect original. And so people want to see that you're authentic. Yeah, it's you want to see that you know your stuff, but at the same time, people do business with people that they like, know, and trust. They don't do business with businesses. So you may know everything, but if I'm not aligned with you, right? If our values aren't the same, if the vibe is off, I can't do business.
Right. Wow. I love that. I love that. So we have a question here for you. So Chronicles of Surge says, what's the best social media platform to start building your brand?
Oh yeah, yeah, great question. All of them. So when it comes to picking out the best platform for you, I would just identify what your strengths and weaknesses are. So if you are great at being in front of video, and doing short form videos, right, different things like that, then I would say something like TikTok or Instagram. If you want to more so do long term videos, maybe to educate on the specific subject, anything over 10 minutes, then YouTube may be best for you. Let's just say you're a good writer, right? You're really good at written type of content. Then I would suggest Instagram, because you can combine video and you can combine written content through the captions, through carousels and different things like that. So you really just want to identify what your strengths and weaknesses are. Maybe you're not good at video. Maybe you're not good at written content, but you can just talk. Then you can do a podcast. Literally not show your face, but build an audience around your expertise. And nobody sees you or nobody sees your face, but they hear your voice. So when it comes to the best platform, yeah, you just want to identify, what your strengths are, and go for it, because every platform has the opportunity and the potential to put you in front of millions of people. So it's just about what works best for you.
Yeah.
So in my case, I mean, I learned to get comfortable right in front of the camera. I'm not really a long form content person. So short to the point, Instagram, TikTok. I'm not really the best writer. I can speak it, right? I can talk. So it's very short captions for me. And so yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. And got another question from Serge. How do you feel about building a brand around children? Do you have experience with that?
What does that mean exactly?
Well,
So
Serge, yeah, we're gonna let Serge elaborate on that, and then we'll come back to that.
yeah,
We'll
because
come back to
there's multiple brands around children. You got things like Blippy. My son watches that all the time. You got children's toys, children's clothes. So yeah, we just kind of elaborate on that. If you could, that'll be great.
Okay. So let's talk about something that I just had a conversation with someone about the other day. The verified blue check. How important is that? Because I know like now Instagram for sure is sending you like they'll say get the Meta Blue, and then when you click on it, they want $15 a month for that service. So how important, or do you even need the blue check?
Gotcha. Yeah. So, um, as far as needing the blue check to build a business, no. To build a brand, no. As far as the blue check to protect your identity, yeah. So and when Instagram was kind of talking about bringing the blue check, is a lot of controversy around it. Um, thing is, like, when it comes to the blue check mark, we can't see it meaning, or we can't have the same meaning for it as we used to. So, having a blue check used to mean that you're a big name, you're got articles around you, you're a celebrity, you're a big deal. But the world we live in today, with AI, bots, creating the fake accounts, and all these different things, we got to change the scope and the meaning of what a blue check mark means. Pretty soon it's going to be standard for everybody to have a blue check, right? Just so that you can prove that you're the person that you say you are. So obviously today, paying the $15 a month, it just means that you verified your identity. You are who you say you are. So that way you don't run the risk of, people creating fake accounts and people getting scammed with your name. So I highly say it's mandatory for everybody to make sure that they have a blue check, because you will get to a point where you begin to blow up, you begin to build influence, and people's gonna try to duplicate you, right? It's happened to me plenty of times, and last thing you want to do is see people get hurt, just from some scammer online trying to be you. So I say just like begin to change your mindset, and begin to change the scope of what a blue check mark means. And because here soon is going to be standard, everybody's going to have it. It just means that you are who you say you are, and it no longer means that hey, you're this like big deal, this big celebrity. And I think that people that do kind of, the controversy around that was like, hey, we need to separate from the big timers from everybody else. And at the end of the day, I mean, if it doesn't really matter. Obviously, if you're that guy, you're that person, people's gonna say that. People's gonna come to you regardless. But it's optional. No, you don't need it. It's not mandatory. It's not gonna make you any more money. It's not gonna build your brand faster. It just gives you solid authenticity and knowing that you are who you say you are.
Nice, nice. So Serge did come back. He said, putting children on the internet in general for branding, is it smart and safe?
Um, um, it depends on the business. It depends on exactly what it is. I mean, there's children on the internet every day for multiple different brands. I mean, we got babies on the internet for Huggies and diapers. So, yeah, it's safe. It just depends on what context the branding is in. Um, so yeah, I would definitely need to know more about the business surge, and just kind of see what the vision is with it, and kind of figure out what's the best route to take so that it is safe, it is smart, when implementing children into the brand in general.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so let's talk about three things that will explode your following. I know that's something else that you talk about on your Instagram page. Like, what are the three things that will help you grow your following? What are the three things that help you do that?
Perfect. So really the main thing really is understanding the business plan of social media platforms. So at the end of the day, at the base of it, social media platforms, their whole business plan is built around keeping people on the platform. That's the main thing. So one way to explode your following is number one, understanding the two main things that social media algorithms are looking for every time that you post content. So number one, the first thing that they're looking for is if you can stop people from scrolling. That's the first thing. So as people scrolling through the news feed and you actually get them to stop, that's one indicator that your content is interesting, right? So now the second indicator that your content is great content is if you can actually hold their attention for a long duration or a long period of time. So if you can stop them from scrolling and if you can actually hold their attention. So when the algorithms see that, they begin to now push it in front of more people because again, you're playing to what the algorithm wants, which is to keep people on the platform. So that I would say that's the main thing is figuring out how to do that. So most people, they're not even getting in front of majority of their followers, just because they can't pass those two check marks. And so when you don't, then the algorithm starts to deem your content as not interesting, and it begins to now suppress your reach. So now you're not getting in front of anybody. I would say the second thing to explode your following is there's a little, and I literally just did a rapid growth masterclass, talking about all these things. So I might go over three. But there's the little trending feature on Instagram. And so basically when you find a trending sound, it'll show up as an arrow. And basically what you can do is you can find trends that's early on in the trend, and you can implement them into your content to actually ride the momentum of them, right? So what that's going to do is it's going to now position you to get in front of thousands of people, right? Early on in the process. So the biggest thing with that is you want to make sure that you find trending sounds that's actually relevant to your business and your brand.
So Curtis, where do they find those though? Like if you just out there and you're posting something, where would you find the trending sound? Just adding sound to your content? Like how do you find that?
Yep. So if you're on Instagram and you click the Reels tab, you'll be able to scroll through Reels. As you're kind of scrolling through Reels, just in your day-to-day motion. That's typically where you'll find them at. So the type of content that you already consume most likely is relevant to what you're doing, right? So typically the content that you start seeing and the sounds that you start getting on your page, they're gonna show you sounds that are trending, right? And which is gonna most likely be relevant to your brand. So that's where you'll find them at. Just as you're scrolling through the news feed, you'll see the different videos, and when you look at the sound of the video, it'll have an upwards arrow on it. So that's where you'll be able to find whether it's trending or not.
Nice.
So that's two ways. So now a third way that I teach people how to do is the viral sound technique, or become the voice technique. So basically it's where you now become the viral sound. So basically this is creating a piece of content, doing a voiceover, and you're actually in that voiceover, you're creating content that other people can use in their content, in their videos. So now what's going to typically happen is as people begin to see your content, now they can actually take what you said, right, in your video, and they can actually implement it into their video that they make. And once Instagram sees enough people doing that, now you're considered a viral sound yourself. So what this does is, your voice is now going all across the world. People's now going back to your page to see where it came from. And now you're just now getting tons of exposure just from that. So what I typically tell people to do is, when implementing that strategy, you can create some sort of sound that's going to inspire people, maybe giving some sort of motivational message. Maybe, kind of talking about a industry wide, what's the word I'm looking for? Some sort of common industry issue or problem, right? And there's multiple different examples of that. And anything that educates people, right? So anything like that, anything that other people can now start to implement into their videos, so that you now become the viral sound that people start to use. And so another thing that you can do as well is you can now start to post your content on multiple different platforms, and now you can actually send followers from multiple different platforms. So for instance, what that looks like is when I started building my brand on TikTok, what I began to find out is that a lot of people from TikTok began to follow me on Instagram. A lot of people on Instagram began to follow me on TikTok. So basically now You're just sharing, like, people, you're sharing your other social media platforms, and people are now able to connect with you on multiple different spots. So those are a couple different strategies that I would say that's gonna, grow your following quickly. Um, and so another thing is that when it comes to growing your following like rapidly, is when you do begin to hone in on creating great content, you're these algorithms is going to now start to put your content in front of people by default. So they're going to put your content on the explore page. They're going to put your content in the reels tab. So when people scroll through, they're seeing your videos without even having to follow you. And that's where that virality comes from. People sharing your videos, right? All those different things is going to go into you actually growing quickly. So, but at the end of the day, I just tell people, it is something that is gonna, obviously take some time. It's not gonna be something that happens overnight. But when you do figure it out, right, when you do start to, see the fruits and the efforts of it, that's when things start to pick up quickly. So those are a couple of things I would say, like, to start to grow your following rapidly.
Nice, nice, nice. So Curtis, when someone comes to you, what should they expect? Like, what services do you offer? Like, how can you assist? Like, we just had a therapist who commented, and she was just saying, it's a lot of work. So if she was to come to you as a therapist trying to build her brand, what would what should she expect to happen? Like, what services will you provide?
Gotcha. So how we do it is our coaching program is typically a 12-week coaching program. So when someone comes to us, wanting to build a brand, we take them through a three-step process overall for the span of 12 weeks. So our program is broken down into three tiers. Tier number one, this is more so designed around, building the foundation of the brand. So this is everything from getting clear on the vision, the goals of the brand. So we make sure that we have a clear target that we're moving towards. We dive deep into the messaging. So typically a lot of times you might be in front of the right people, but you're just speaking the wrong language. And so, if I speak English and you're speaking Spanish, it doesn't matter how good you are, I'm still gonna miss it. So we want to, in our magnetic messaging formula, we show them how to speak the language of their audience so that they begin to magnetically attract people to them. So this, now you're speaking the right language in your captions. You're speaking the right language in your videos. You're speaking the right triggers, right, in any type of content that you post. So we dive heavy into the messaging aspect, logos, colors, themes, and all those different things. So this is what tier one is based upon. Sort of like building a house. You don't want to build a house on quicksand. So we don't want to build a brand on quicksand. So tier one is the very first step that we take someone through. So now tier number two, this is going to be more so tailored around social media, the social media aspect. So everything from the basics of content. What platform should you post on? What type of content should you post? We dive deep into the psychology behind viral content. One thing that people believe is that viral content is a thing of luck. You just get lucky, when it's not. There's actually a science to it. So we actually take people through the engineering process to now be able to package up their message in a way that's is actually predicted to go viral, based upon research, based upon data, and all these different things. So we take a person and show them how to now package up their expertise, their products and services, in a way that people are already sharing and saving and commenting and engaging with, and also building a relationship with that audience, right? So that they now begin to like, know, and trust you. So that's the second phase of our program, and we walk a person step by step to really implement that for their business. And then tier three, this is where we dive into the monetization aspect. So this is where we now, show them how to actually take their followers and turn them into new clients and customers. How do we get them onto, an email list? text message list so that we can continue to build a relationship with these people for the long term. So now, and actually, transition them into making a decision, getting them to the payoff that they want. So whether that looks like becoming a new customer, a new client, or whether that just looks like, referring them to somebody else that can actually help. But just really getting them to that point of actually generating income. So that's kind of an overview of what we would take someone through and kind of what our program looks like. So that way it takes the second guessing of figuring all the stuff out, because social media is it's a challenge, right?
Yeah.
It's things to learn. So we just shortcut that process, taking 9 years that I had to go through and condensing it into 12 weeks.
So, what is the basic things a new business owner need to know? Because all of that can sound intimidating to someone, because it sounds like you are supposed to come to the table with a clear vision. And most times people just know how to do their craft. They
Yep.
don't know how to promote and brand their craft. So, like, what is the minimum they could come to you and you can give them a masterpiece?
Gotcha. So when you say the minimum,
Like they may say like, well, I don't know what I don't know what I want the logo to look like. They have none of that type of stuff. They just know, hey, I do therapy. I don't know what I want to how he should look to the people's eye. So can you take someone who is clueless to what they want and then just walk them through the process, I guess?
yeah, that's what we specialize in. Yep. So whether you brand new, man, I don't even know what a logo is. I don't, I don't even know what the goal is. I talked to somebody today, and she said I don't even know what my niche is. I don't know what the goal is. So we take them through that process of helping them figure those things out, because again, when it comes to the social media world, I mean, it could be a totally different game. So yeah, we take them through that process, help them figure that out, help them create the logo, and really put these elements in place that's going to build a strong foundation of the brand. So really, for the person that has no idea what they're doing, or what to do next, as long as they know like what they want to do as far as their expertise, or their overall picture, we just plug in the pieces.
Nice, nice. So Curtis, so we know we can follow you on Instagram and TikTok. So if you're not following Curtis, go out, follow him, Curtis Lee Harbin, on both Instagram and TikTok. So you can follow him. And then if someone wanted to set up an appointment with you, or how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, perfect. So what you'll do is just click the link in the bio. There is an option to grab the free case study web class. And so in that web class, I literally just break down the 3-step process that we just talked about. And then right underneath that video, there's a button to be able to apply for a strategy session. So from that point, you just fill out the quick form. It'll just give us a better idea of where you are right now, what your goal and your vision is, what do you feel like you need more help on, and then from that point, you can schedule a time to actually talk to myself personally, and then we come up with that game plan and figure out what the best next steps are that make sense.
Nice. So Curtis, other than the advice of come see me, I can help you build your brand, what advice would you give to a newcomer, a new business owner, a new entrepreneur? What advice would you give them?
Um, Man, I would say overall, man, no matter how slow the process is, just continue to move forward. I would say just identify what your mission is, man, and fall in love with the process. Get crystal clear on the assignment that you've been called to. Your gift and your talent, man, is the answer to somebody's problem that they've been praying for. And so it's really your it's really your it's really your assignment to become the best at whatever it is that you do. And whatever it is that you do, just learn as much as you possibly can in it. and just never stop moving forward, because, in entrepreneurship, you do get discouraged. There's plenty of times where I feel like, yo, anybody gonna listen to what I got to say? Can I even do this? How are people growing so fast? I don't think I can do that. And so never compare your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 25. Your process is custom tailored and designed to you and nobody else. And your process is your process. Nobody can duplicate it because nobody can duplicate you. So as long as you just continue to move in obedience, move forward, and just figure stuff out as you go. You're never going to have it together 100%. Even still today, I don't know what I'm doing fully, right? So man, that's the game of entrepreneurship. But as long as you have faith, you're going to arrive. You can never connect the puzzle pieces looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. So after you arrive, that's when you're going to figure it out.
Yeah, I love that. Only looking back. So we did have one other question for you. How long did it take you to build your brand?
Yeah, perfect. So overall, I've been building my brand for 9 years. Recently, so starting January 3rd, that's when I actually started to really get back on TikTok. And so kind of starting from that time frame, I built my brand on TikTok from 418 followers to 22,000 in 7 days. From that point to over 100,000 in 38 days, and then less than 90 days, over 350,000. On Instagram, past 60 days, 12,000 followers to now over 72,000. The growth and the speed recently, I would just say it's been in the span of 90 days. But again, that's only the byproduct of something that's been planting for the past 9 years. So, and again, it just kind of comes down to, really figuring out this information that, we teach. And so if I knew this back 9 years ago, I mean, I would have saved 9 years. So that's why I'm so passionate about helping people cut the time, more than in half. So, yeah.
Wow. That is amazing, man. That is amazing. That's amazing. But if you guys haven't gone out and followed Curtis, become his 359,858 follower. I'm just playing. But if you're not following Curtis, go out and follow this guy, because no lie, when you look on his page, he has some of the most amazing content. And I even like how you even branding your own videos, because most of your stuff is like black or white or whatever, that grayscale color. It's like, and I mean, I paid attention to it all. So go check this guy out. He is phenomenal. And Curtis, thank you so much for coming on here, man. This has truly been a pleasure.
I appreciate it, man. And also one last thing that came to my mind as well, that, piece of advice is, no matter who you are, no matter what it is that you do, you can get your message heard in front of the world. I literally had someone that was horrible, with social media, kind of just like what you said, John, absolutely no idea what to do. And, she told me, she's like, I don't like to make videos. I don't like to be seen. And her very first video that we posted together got over 500,000 views, and she brought in over 2,000 followers from that one video. So I was that guy that said, I don't think I can get my message heard, by the world. So it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you do. You have a voice. You have something that the world needs to hear. And it just so happens to be packaged in a business. So, that's the power of social media. But I just kind of want to, let everybody know that no matter what you do, you have a voice and it will be heard by the world. Our vision is to help 1 million entrepreneurs become a household name. So you are the next household name just for watching this podcast.
Wow. Wow. Love it. Love it. Love it. So, Curtis, anything else you want to say to the audience before we leave?
No, man. I appreciate you, man, again, for reaching out.
Absolutely, brother.
Man, this is the start of our relationship. So,
Absolutely.
man, I look forward to staying locked in, man, and just watching just watching each other's growth.
Exactly. Yeah, because I mean, I believe that. I say it every time. I don't believe in coincidence. I believe everything is orchestrated divinely and that is for a bigger purpose than what we could ever imagine. So I agree with you 100%. But everyone, thank you for logging on tonight. We will be back next Monday, 7 p.m. I have a great guest lined up for you all. So we'll see you on next Monday. And thank you again, Curtis.
Thank you. Appreciate it.